varied, and our version today in the desert is no different. Relentless, M&M, Morning, and Mutombo anchor a fierce Georgetown defensive front. But today with Morning out, Dikembe must go it alone. Poise. Head coach Randy Ayers of Ohio State returns a savvy veteran team led by sophomore Jimmy Jackson. Hope. In our second game of a doubleheader, the Seminoles of Florida State attempt to do what no one has done in 15 games. Defeat the simply awesome returning national champions, the #1 running Rebels of UNLV, with All-Americans Johnson and Augmon. The duel in course will be held in the shark-infested waters of Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Also appearing today will be bonus coverage of college basketball. Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to our ABC College Basketball Studios in New York. I'm John Saunders. What a terrific day and night of sport here on ABC. We'll start it next with the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Georgetown Hoyas in the duel in the desert. Then at 3:30 Eastern Time, bonus coverage as the LSU Tigers meet the Fighting Illini of Illinois. At 4 o'clock Eastern Time, most of you will return to the duel in the desert. Florida State taking on the #1 team in the nation, the Running Rebels of UNLV.
It's to you and everybody back in our ABC studios in New York. As you pointed out, this is the duel in the desert, a fascinating first game between the favored Buckeyes of Ohio State and the Georgetown Hoyas. Ohio State comes in with a record of 7-0. Some now saying they may be the best team in the Big Ten, and the Hoyas are 6-1. The two coaches, John Thompson, he won a national championship in the 80s, 19 years at the helm of the Hoyas. Randy Ayers on the other side in his second year as the head coach of the Buckeyes, one of the promising young talents in the coaching ranks. Pleasure for me again to be working alongside my colleague Jim Valvano. And Jimmy V, how about the contrast between the two teams here today?
Well, in 19 years, Brent, John Thompson's Hoyas have won a lot of games. They've done it with defense. This year's no exception. Very rarely does the opposition shoot over 40% against Georgetown. If they beat you by 20, it's usually a low-scoring affair, 70-50. But on the other hand, the Buckeyes of Randy Ayers score over 100 points a game. They've got the guns to beat you 100-80. It's good offense against good defense. Something's got to give.
And Jimmy, the Hoyas will be a little bit short-handed. Alonzo Mourney, who injured that arch in the game against Duke in civilian clothes and will not play. And the #1 team in the nation, the Running Rebs of Las Vegas, will be our feature attraction in the second game here today. And for more on that story, let's go to Keith Jackson and Dick Vitale. Well, Jim Jackson will lead the Buckeyes of Ohio State when we come back with the opening tip in Game 1 in just a moment. To help us set the stage for Game 1 between Georgetown and Ohio State, let's go to Mark Jones. Mark?
Guys, interesting to note that over the last couple of days, whenever Ayers and Thompson were in the same room together, you can really sense that Ayers had more than just a little bit of respect for the Georgetown coach. And why not? That's the guy that Ayers went to for guidance when he first took the Ohio State job. Now, the biggest piece of advice that Thompson gave him, he said, Randy, get your team ready to play whenever, whoever you play, and you'll last a long time in this business. So far, Ayers is doing just that, listening to Thompson's guidance, and he is picture perfect through 7 games. He admits, though, he'll be a little bit nervous going up against the guy he respects so much today.
Well, for John Thompson, he'll have to go today without one of his main men, Alonzo Mourney, meaning that Dikembe Mutombo will carry the load on the inside. 3 freshmen, Churchwell, Brown, and Harrison, and Kelly, the junior college transfer, against a veteran Ohio State 5. All 5 played last year into the NCAA tournament. Carter at the center. Lee was the 6th man. Now he starts alongside the ever-smooth Jim Jackson. Baker and Brown are in the backcourt. Jim, what about the style of play that we're going to see here?
Well, the one thing that Georgetown does so well is they protect the perimeter. They're giving up only 20% field goal percentage on the perimeter, 3-point shot. They do that well. They also play a half-court game. I think Ohio State wants to go up and down. 2 different styles of ball.
A veteran officiating crew. In fact, I've seen national championship games where we didn't have 3 lead officials like Tim Higgins, Jimmy Berg, Jody Sylvester. Let's see, Jim Valvano, I count at least 2 technicals called against you by that.
I was going to say 2 of the 3 have hit me with a T. Unfairly, I might add.
Georgetown controls the tap. That is Kelly handling the ball. They'll bring it down. And with that inexperience in the backcourt, we'll see if they're able to get the ball on the inside to Dikembe Mutombo. He figures to be the main man. And watch the inside defense by the Buckeyes. How far out can they keep Mutombo, who now has handled it twice? He's doubled up quickly, and a 3-point shot goes down. So the Hoyas hit a 3-point shot with Charles Harrison, the freshman, putting them ahead. Now the pressure defense, and they pick up a turnover. It's Harrison again.
John Thompson said that perimeter defense is exceptional. They put pressure in the backcourt, and there was a turnover by Ohio State.
Jackson, the small forward who handles the ball very well, gets it up, and the Buckeyes turn it over to Thompson's Hoyas here early. A lot of empty seats in the background. This crowd will continue to file in as their beloved Runnin' Rebs of Las Vegas will take on Florida State in our second game.
Ohio State, Brent, is showing man-to-man. That's how they've started. Pressure man-to-man, although they are giving, it's help defense, they are giving the outside shot.
Good defense against Kelly that time as he gets snuffed. Jackson hits Baker, the point man, and Mutombo is there defensively. What the big fella does best of all, defense underneath the basket. Pressure from the Buckeyes, and traveling is the call. So the Hoyas turn it over. And Ohio State can work a scoring play underneath their basket. Brown, he's the off guard. Baker now handling it, will run the floor. Trying to get inside. Carter handles it on the turnaround, and he's fouled by Churchwell. Jimmy, it was obvious that he had to change the arc on his shot. He was very conscious of Mutombo underneath.
We talked about how they change your offensive game plan. Teams are only shooting at 35% this year. You can see Carter really worried about that there. And that's not a good foul because it's a tough shot. But let's face it, when your opposition only shooting 35%, it's tough to lose basketball games.
So this is number 32, Perry Carter, and he has a body much like I had when I was growing up.
Where did it go, Brent? Where did that go?
Too many nights with guys like you.
Ohio State will press after made free throws. See how Georgetown handles it. The young backcourt does a fine job.
Mutombo coming over from the weak side. Now it's ball movement over here. And Harrison misfiring, and Baker runs it down for the Bucks. How far can this Ohio State team go? So much optimism around Columbus. Treg Lee with an outside shot off the iron. And Harrison, who's handled the ball a lot, brings it down, almost turned it over. Churchwell for the layup.
Very impressive. Georgetown has 3 Frosh in the starting lineup, and they're certainly not playing like it.
Yeah, they look like they've had a couple years of experience, don't they, here early? Sometimes when you play without a superstar like Alonzo Mourning, the rest of your talent picks it up. And there's Mutombo with another block off to Kelly. Lead pass now to Harrison. And the Hoyas doing what they do best. Bad pass that time. Tried to pick up Churchwell underneath. Ohio State trying to find an offensive identity here in the early going, and now very conscious about Mutombo. So they go to the perimeter game, misfiring, and underneath Mutombo, he loses the handle. Battle for the loose ball, and when the Hoyas go after a loose ball, when they're at the top of their game, they'll come up with it.
So, you know, it's interesting. This could be almost a cause game for Georgetown. Prove that we can win without Alonzo Mourning. They certainly are playing that way.
You have a theory that 2 big men clog it up, that you're better off with a rotation.
Yeah, I really feel that. I think that it's really tough to win with 2 players of that size and talent. Look at LSU right now. Shaquille O'Neal certainly is dominating playing out. There's only one guy there. I think Georgetown's got a lot to prove today.
There's a foul against Ohio State. Alonzo Mourning in civilian clothes. Again, he worked out here yesterday in the Thomas and Mack Center. It was an arch injury, which he suffered in that ACC Big East Challenge game against Duke. And John Thompson said that if he was in the Big East right now or into the NCAA tournament, he would play Alonzo. But he just feels that under the circumstance, he'd give a day off. And as Jimmy points out, it gives them a chance to look at this team with just Mutombo on the floor. Another three. That's two, and that one by Joey Brown. 2 threes in the early going.
Oh, the freshmen are playing very, very well. Right now, Ohio State has not gotten the ball to Jimmy Jackson. He really hasn't done much. He needs to have the ball. He's got it now.
So a tremendous early burst by the Hoyas, who were the underdogs. Jackson shovels it to Carter. Mutombo's there and forced the travel. Mutombo doing it all defensively. Mutombo is a senior. Now, there's an interesting story with Dikembe, and we'll let that unfold, but he will be coming out to the NBA next year. He now figures to be a lottery pick, according to all the scouts who are in attendance today. Ronnie Thompson, the coach's son, is the first substitute off John's bench. He's on the floor right now and handling the ball over here in the corner.
And certainly a trend in the game today. An awful lot of coaches and sons. You've got Wade and Allen Houston. You've got coaches' sons who are playing. You got Bobby and Pat Knight. I mean, it's not too long. You got also coaches, their children are coaching. Lefty Drizel and his son. It's all over. Not too long, I think, if I get back into Bernadette Locke coaching, I might bring my daughter, back into coaching with me.
Coach's son is 1 for 2.
Maybe hit it. Then maybe my wife. And I'll be the Ozzie and Harriet of coaching. Who knows? It's a trend, Brett.
Pressure from the Hoyas, who start out very impressively and lead this game 12-2 against the favored Buckeyes. Got to get Jackson now into the flow here. He gets inside Churchwell, penetrates, and they can't get the easy field goal. Carter was underneath. Nothing coming easy for the Buckeyes. And you've got to be impressed with Thompson's young Hoyas in the early going. John Thompson coaching his son Ronnie Thompson. And John, who looks after your son's academics at Georgetown?
That's not my responsibility. That's his mother's responsibility. I'm his coach.
I'd say, I wonder whether Ronnie calls him dad or coach. You've been on the road too much. My 3 children called me coach for 23 years. It's time to get home.
There's the pressure defense set up by Ohio State, still looking for their first field goal against this Hoya defense. You heard Burr call the screen underneath, and the ball will go over to the Buckeyes.
I think Ohio State has to run its half-court offense right now. The last couple of times down, they went to Jimmy Jackson to try to go for one-on-one. They're 0 for 5. It's time if they can break the press and score, fine, but if you can't, run your offense.
Baker bangs in their first field goal, now 1 of 6, and they kept it away from Mutombo, who opens this game with 3 blocked shots. Almost turned it over. Loose ball, Hoyas. They go diving to the floor. Mutombo.
Excellent pass from the freshman, Harrison. Good look. Combo for an easy deuce.
The Hoyas may be serving up a message here to the rest of the Big East with this performance. I think everybody thought that John Thompson might be real short, and he is into it on that far side right now. Jackson coming underneath. Mutombo goes to Lee. Misfire, and it's Mutombo rebounding. Georgetown's opening like the running Rebs usually open up here in the Shark Tank. Traveling.
Brent, much was expected of Treg Lee, and he really hasn't produced at Ohio State. They thought this was going to be his year. He's had a good first part of the season, but they really need him to hit that just 15-foot jump shot, which is going to be available against Georgetown.
Brian Kelly returning. One of the things to remember about a Georgetown game is that generally it is a game of streaks. Whenever the Hoyas play, they'll get on a run, then they'll break concentration, and the other team will get on a run. Jackson and Gent, the 6th man, puts back the left-handed shot off the glass, so he contributes offensively right off the bench.
And Gent is the instant offense, the 6th man. He's averaging double figures, and he got it over Mutombo. It was no easy task.
Into the hands of Harrison. He protects the ball. And they wait now for Thompson to set the half-court offense. Through the years, Georgetown has not been a spectacular half-court offensive team. And there is an offensive foul. And the Hoyas are now having trouble with their half-court game.
You know, when you go to substitution, sometimes your team gets better and sometimes really gets worse. In the case of Ohio State, which is a veteran team, they're bringing the guys off the bench who got a lot of experience. Georgetown is not experienced to begin with, so when they go to the bench, they have even less experience. It's telling right now.
And we saw, Jimmy, that Brown, Joey Brown, the freshman point guard, checked back into the game. The coach's son, who had experienced the Hoyas last year, takes a seat over there on the bench. Mutombo continuing to play. Lamont Morgan, another freshman, is out there, and Kelly has returned. Nothing easy for Ohio State. They cannot get an easy shot against this defense. Brown on the drive. One shot and out. No one to match up underneath with that Mutombo size either. Dikembe on the jump hook is fouled on the shot.
Really not a good foul by Carter there. That shot is not going to go in. But on the defensive end of the floor, Mutombo just affects everybody's play. There's an excellent drive. Oh, got away with a little pro push. But you just can't score against Georgetown when you take it to the hoop because Mutombo, and then on the perimeter, Brent, they put such pressure that it's hard to score on the outside. So it just is, it's a struggle all game long. The defense wins games for the Hoyas. I just saw Luke Longley play the other day, and he's the 7'2" center from New Mexico, and I've also seen Shaquille O'Neal this year, and I can see why a lot of pro people feel that Mutombo, as Robinson checks in and see what he can do inside, and Carter goes out of the game. But I can see why Mutombo is considered maybe in the top 3 selections, at least the top 5 in the NBA.
Robinson gives Ohio State a 7-footer on the floor. And Coach Ayers hoping that he would play 20 minutes today. So he's matched against Dikembe Mutombo. From the perimeter, Brown's 3 is on the money, and that is something the Buckeyes need.
A rare mistake, I think, for Georgetown at giving the unmolested three-pointer.
15-9 here in the first half. Game 1 of our duel in the desert. Harrison misfiring, and Mutombo reaching up over the top.
You talk about runs. I think, Brent, here you sense one coming. Mutombo could be a little bit tired here. Ohio State getting a little easier shot. You can sense it. Possibly a run here for Buckeyes.
Now Mutombo is out, just as you point that out, and Pascal Fleury checks in. There is a name.
That's
Pascal Fleury, out of Haiti through Canada and down to Georgetown, was going to be redshirted, but Thompson feels he needs the body. Jackson coming, draws the foul from Fleury, and a chance for a three-pointer. There's the play, mark it down, that could lift the Buckeyes.
And there's the difference again. Fleury has not played much and a little out of position. Mutombo, I think, might have blocked that without fouling. But it was an excellent cross-court pass, I think, by the Buckeyes. And as you mentioned, Brent, you know, Jimmy Jackson's got to have the ball. You see a reaction a little bit late. Fleury gets the foul. It's a three-point play. It's an excellent pass. You know, about Fleury, Pascal Fleury, I think if he's going to be a great Hoya, that name, I'm not so sure. He might need a nickname. Pascal sounds like, you know, he's going to ties by Pascal. You know, I think maybe the Flash or something.
John Thompson with an international flair, and we're coming back to Las Vegas in just a moment. The Buckeyes are back in it. We are back. The duel in the desert. Georgetown leading Ohio State in the first game. Jerry Tarkanian and the Runnin' Rebs of Las Vegas will be out in game 2 against Florida State. Long pass to Harrison. Caught inside the free throw line. Robinson stuffs it. Turned on a 7-footer when he should have held up. But it still pays off for the Hoyas. Gent, helping out with the ball handling duties, comes up with a left-handed shot, and Baker, the point man, rebounded. We got a role reversal, but they turn it over. Hoyas break out. Brown kept in play at that Hoya end, and Robinson is there forcing a travel. So 7-foot Robinson contributing off Randy Ayers' bench. And Dikembe Mutombo returning to the game on a rotation. And in case you just joined us, Alonzo Mourning is out with an arch injury.
Brent, I feel that they've tried twice in the NBA with Ewing, Cartwright, Olajuwon Sampson, played two big guys and it failed. I'm looking at something here that if Mourning was available, I think John Thompson's team, if they rotated the two big guys, would be terrific. I think it's better than playing them both together.
That was a 2-point field goal by Brown. And with Mutombo on the floor, it is so obvious that you've got to have a perimeter game, and it is entirely different down here offensively. Let's see what Mutombo can do. Robinson matched against him in this set, pushed him out. They missed the three, but Brown gets inside. Ball out of bounds, and it's Georgetown's ball.
But when you talk about playing two big guys at the same time, I really think it hurts the flow of your offense. I think it's difficult to get the inside-outside game going. When you play one guy, I think there's so much more freedom inside interior to play. And then I think the substitution pattern. Could you imagine facing Mutombo for a while and then facing Mourning? I really like it when they substitute.
Antoine Stoudemire, a veteran, checking in for the Hoyas. Hoyas ball. I'll tell you one person who is in attendance watching this game because he watches every basketball that's ever dribbled, and that's Jerry Tarkanian, the coach of the defending national champions. And he's going to unveil another 7-footer in that second game against Florida State. Elmore Spencer, who transferred up from Georgia. That's what he needs, is another player, right, folks? I'm going to make a prediction right now that the Runnin' Rebs of Las Vegas are going to go unbeaten this year and win back-to-back national titles. An unbeaten season. I think that's how good the Runnin' Rebs are. Baker into the hands of Jet. Offensive foul is called.
Is that similar to your prediction that Ohio State was going to run away with this game right before we went on the air, Brent?
I didn't make that one public. I just told you that one.
Okay. Just wondering.
Wasn't that Vitale who made that?
Oh, so that was just a trick prediction.
That was a trick one.
Okay.
Coach Thompson's son bringing the ball up. He's returned to the action. Kelly handling the ball at the top. Stoudemire wants his first shot. Gent was there defensively, and it rattles in.
Stoudemire is a shooter, although this year he hasn't shooting a great percentage, but that's why Coach Thompson went to him, because when they throw it inside the Hoyas to Mutombo, you can get the inside-outside. The three-point shot's available for Georgetown.
Robinson. Nice touch.
Robinson playing well on both ends of the floor. He's contributed. He's doing an excellent job.
He has made the difference. He's given him a big body against Mutombo. Oh, and Brown goes the length a little bit out of control, but he drew the blocking foul regardless. What do you tell a point man in a situation like that if he does go ahead and draw the foul, Jimmy, when he's coming in?
One thing you don't want to do is leave your feet. Don't leave your feet. I thought, Brent, that he made a pretty good decision. He was looking to the right, was going to give it, but then maybe thought that it was a tough pass, and I don't think he left it. You don't want to leave your feet. That's what you would say is wrong. Don't do that, right? If you'd stop there, you take the little jump shot, and you're going to not foul, and you should be able to make that shot. But I'll tell you one thing: these freshman guards with Georgetown are going to be very, very good.
They've got that speed.
Oh, they do. And they play with confidence. You know, freshmen no longer, we keep talking as if a fresh can't play. That's not true anymore. These kids are so much more mature. A lot of them have played, you know, I used to be lucky if I took a train to Jersey when I was in school. You know, these kids have played international basketball. It's not that big a deal.
You know what else I think? Listening to people like you on television has made them much better at the high school level. I think they learn.
You know
I think football players do the same.
I agree with that. Especially since I've done 6 games.
Look what you did for all big men after you talked about Luke Longley the other
That's
night.
right. The Luke can play. From down under. The man from down under can play.
Robinson, defended by Mutombo, and Thompson now drops back to double up on him, and reaching in, the foul is called. A little bit too aggressive when he bit back on the double team.
Right, an excellent double team. When you do double, don't reach. You're supposed to mirror the ball with your hands, and if you mirror the ball with your hands, let's take a look in here. All right, good, not fouling, it's good. Now, this is a good double team, but now just mirror, don't reach. And you see, there it is, there it is. The referees wait for the reach, and they call the foul.
That is 16 fouls against the Hoyas. Remember, you go 1-1 on number 7, and when you hit 10.5, you shoot 2 the rest of the way.
Georgetown changes defense on out of bounds under the basket. They go zone.
Carter back in the game, but he traveled. Carter is not a legitimate 7-foot presence. He's more of a power forward down in the pivot, and he's having difficulty with Mutombo.
Yeah, but Mutombo makes you walk. He makes you change your shot. You need to go inside, get it back outside, and take the jump shot on the perimeter. See, inside, outside.
Beautifully by Gent, who's hustling, so they get back to Thompson, who misses, and Jackson rebounds for the Buckeyes. 8:45 to go in the first half. 21-16. Georgetown led all the way. Could not get the roll, and he pushed off, going for the rebound underneath. Carter, attempting to get rebounding position, pushes off, and you can see Randy Ayers will again substitute. That is the second foul against Carter. Baker comes back into the game, and so does Treg Lee. There's Baker, the point man for the Buckeyes. Jimmy, over in Europe, coaches feel that we take players out too quickly in the United States, don't they, because of foul trouble?
Brent, great article in the monthly bulletin of the National Association of Basketball Coaches, where they say the European coaches no longer that impressed with American coaches. They say we over-coach, and we don't understand the three-point play offensively and defensively, and that's very interesting.
Mutombo missing on the hook. Here's this perimeter passing game that the Buckeyes, in effect, have been forced to stick with much of the time. Gent bodies his way in. Kelly off with the rebound. 5-point Hoya lead at the 8-minute mark. Different game with Robinson on Mutombo. Dikembe wasn't even looking for a shot. And Gent was there. Gent is a very alert defensive player. Brown on the driving layup, score it and bring him to the line.
Good attack the basket. That's the kind of foul coaches say, if you're going to hit him, make sure the ball does not get on the glass. And it's a kind of touch foul, and it's it's a good steal here. Nice pass. You get rid of the ball early. And now that's the kind of touch foul you say, no, no, no. If you're going to nail him, nail him. It's a three-point opportunity and a chance for the press again.
So we've got a break here at the 7:39 mark of the first half. The Hoyas' lead has been cut to 2.
Only from the mind of Minolta comes a compact camera with a mind of its own. The revolutionary Freedom Zoom 105i. This new Freedom suggests composition. It anticipates fast action for perfect focus. Its 3 times zoom even starts by itself. A camera with a mind of its own is easy enough for any family. Every Freedom camera is a very thoughtful gift. Season's greetings from Minolta.
For Brian's 7th birthday, he got a big boy's bicycle, a brand new puppy, and a fever. Fortunately, Brian's mom has something new, too. Chewables for older kids from Junior Strength Tylenol. Just 2 grape-flavored Junior Strength chewables give him the same fast relief as 4 children's chewables. All the relief, half the tablets. And that's better for Brian and his mom. New chewables from Junior Strength Tylenol, also in caplets. Better care for bigger kids.
It's that fragrance you're wearing.
Make a statement without saying a word.
Orange men invade Hawaii.
Wow.
The Syracuse Orange men take on Arizona in the Eagle Aloha Bowl. Christmas Day on ABC Sports.
Back with Jerry West, general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers. Jerry, how do you compare Luke Longley and Dikembe Mutombo featured in this game?
Well, they're really different kind of players. Longley is a more polished offensive player, but this kid is so intimidating, and he's a huge kid, and even at this level, you can see these kids are very intimidated when they get around the basket. He's a great shot blocker.
If Dikembe were to come out this year in the draft, where do you think he would be picked?
You know, I really don't like to get in things like that because I always hope the kids stay in school 4 years. I think they really do gain a lot from going to school, and you would prefer they stay in school. But, of course, with the incredible financial opportunities for some of these kids, there's no question that they do think about it earlier today.
Jerry, thanks a lot for joining us. Guys, he would make a great lottery pick, though.
Mark, let me follow up on that story because there's confusion. He has to come out. He cannot come back to Georgetown next year. And let me explain that before we get too much further into the broadcast. It's because of a technicality. They do not offer the SAT examinations in French. He speaks 5 languages. His #1 language is French. You can take the SAT in Spanish. Obviously, you can take it in English, although that's a foreign language to some, I guess. But at any rate, because he did not take the SAT, he has to come out at the end of this year. So Dikembe Mutombo will be a lottery pick. Now we get the ball to Lee, back outside to Brown, and the Hoyas come away with the miss, and they lead at 23-19, 6:45 of the first half.
5 languages he speaks? I know I wanted to take my board in French. I
had a conversation with him in Swahili. It was very interesting. So the Buckeyes trying to put together a little run. They've drawn back to within 2 after their sluggish start. Isn't it interesting how when a star is out like Alonzo Mourning, how the game will tip in the opposite direction? Great block by Ronnie Thompson. He really took it away from Gent that time.
And yet both teams, though, Brent, are shooting 40% for the game, which isn't very good.
Good defense out here. These 2 teams feature good defense. And they double up in the backcourt on Brown, forcing the turnover, and he comes back diving for the loose ball.
What great hustle by both clubs. I mean, getting those knees on the floor and not polished play right now, a little sloppy, but just great hustle by both clubs. You know, you're really not very wise. This play is okay by Gent. He's got a little better chance at a shot. They're good defensive play. But right here, a drive to the basket is this close. You can fake all you want. You use the old camp head fake, head fake, head fake. Hey, there's not enough fakes, I think, in your game to get it. He doesn't even have to leave the ground. You can't take that shot against Dikembe.
Number 15 for Ohio State, Jamie Skelton, that just checked in.
That's the shot I was talking about that Treg Lee must hit because it is available. And then if Mutombo comes out, you can pass the ball on the baseline. I think Ohio State needs to make a high-low look on offense.
Mutombo being bodied, gets it on back, and Stoudemire comes through the lane.
Mutombo is too high on the lane to be effective offensively. He's being pushed way up high. He's got to, I think, position himself lower on the blocks, down low.
Carter tried a running hook against Mutombo, has 4 of Georgetown's 6 blocks here in the first half.
Let's see if Mutombo gets down. If they set up, if they don't shoot it quickly, we get a foul there. But Mutombo's, I think, a little bit too high on the offense.
Well, coming up at halftime, college basketball scoreboard. John Saunders back in our studio in New York with Beth Ruyak. Well, Dick Vitale loves to rave about a cupcake schedule. And so for the last 2 days, we have been hearing about the Buckeyes' schedule so far.
Brent, I happen to agree with our colleague. I mean, Ohio State hasn't even played. They haven't played an entire state yet. I mean, it's time they do that.
We'll take a look at who they have beaten up on. Kelly on a runner. Nice shot by Kelly. Jackson strongly down the baseline. Ragged around the edges, but aggressive defense by both Ohio State and Georgetown. Kelly on the dribble.
Georgetown's using Fleury really as a screener, not an offensive weapon. When you play that high post, you're a passer. You pass and screen if you're going to play that high.
I should have pointed out, Matumbo's just been replaced. Fleury comes through with an offensive rebound, but an awkward shot underneath. He's a project for Georgetown. There's no question about that. This is the man they want into the action. Jackson, he is fouled and no basket. No shot. He was fouled by number 12, Charles Harrison. There's the schedule. Bethune-Cookman, Delaware State, Youngstown State, Chicago State. Wright State held them to less than 100. American University in Tennessee.
Brent, they've only one big state there, Tennessee. You know, if you're not going to play the entire state, you're going to win a lot of games. You know, they don't even have a lot of cities they've played yet.
But Randy will take that unbeaten record nevertheless.
I always
said they win is a win.
Brent, you should never play a team with a hyphen in its name. They're going to beat you. Never. And the other thing is don't play those directional schools. Southwest, Northeast, they could beat you too.
Georgetown usually plays cupcakes. They've had a couple of tough ones in there. Duke, they won that game, and then UTEP upset them 71-60.
They got the hyphen game, and then they got not entire state Indiana, just a portion of the state. You're going to get some W's there.
We're going to take a break at the 3:40 mark. Georgetown leading Ohio State 27-23.
Here's another demonstration of Chevy versus Ford. We're loading up these full-size pickups with recyclables. The Chevy has a standard payload advantage of over 400 pounds.
That's a pile of payload the Ford leaves behind.
No wonder so many truck owners recycle their trucks for Chevys. More people are winning with the heartbeat of America.
Now it's easy to win with the heartbeat.
Got a painful cold? Gotta get relief? Get Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. It relieves painful cold symptoms some others miss with a decongestant, antihistamine, and a pain reliever you can't find in any other leading cold medicine.
The pain's gone.
Ah, I can breathe.
Everything feels better, better, better.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Relief for your painful cold. And now for sinus and allergy relief, try new Alka-Seltzer Plus sinus allergy medicine.
Everywhere you look, there's a reason to use Visine. That's why there are now 4 different Visines to get the red out and provide just the relief you need, no matter what causes the irritation. So now, look no further than Visine.
In redefining the laser printer, IBM made it 33% smaller, with 60% fewer parts than the old standard. Could that be the reason it's also 25% faster?
IBM laser printers. Suddenly, nothing else measures up.
Welcome back to our studios in New York. A reminder, coming up at halftime, we'll have scores plus a look at Jay Burson as he tries to come back and make it to the NBA, his lifetime dream. All that coming at halftime. Right now, let's go back to Brent and Jim. Georgetown with some worries of their own of the injury bug.
All right, John, thank you very much. And you're looking at Alonzo Mourning, not playing here today because of that arch problem, that injury he originally suffered very late in the game against the Duke Blue Devils. So he's sitting this one out. His Hoyas streaked early, and now they're holding on to a 4-point lead over the unbeaten Buckeyes of Ohio State. With Michigan State having difficulty in the early going, a lot of folks in the Midwest pointing at Ohio State and Indiana as the teams to beat when the Big Ten gets underway.
Georgetown's going with the 2 big guys right now, and let's see how it works. I think it's hard to run your offense with those 2 big guys in there without the real pure point guard.
Jimmy, they're not a real polished half-court offensive team anyway.
Not yet. Not yet. It's going to take some time with young players.
On the inside, Burr blowing the whistle.
Not a good foul. I mean, once again, the post players for Georgetown are not in an offensive position. They are well above a good position to score down low. There's no reason to push or foul them out there. They're passers right now and screeners.
LSU will take on Illinois at the conclusion of this game. You will see the start of that one. Shaquille O'Neal, the NBA scouts and everybody else drooling over him. And then you'll come back for the UNLV game. So bonus coverage coming your way at the conclusion of game 1 of our Duel in the Desert.
Ohio State's gone to, it's known as a flex offense. It's a baseline screen. Try and get somebody free down low. I wonder why you want to get someone free down low, because you're just going to get it blocked.
Tumbo leaning, switches to Jacks. Foul Robinson, bad shot, but there is Gent, who's been active, goes diving for the loose ball, and the Hoyas come up with it. The possession arrow pointing in favor of the Hoyas. Well, we've had bodies on the floor like it's mid-March.
Georgetown's quick to the ball, Brent. When Gent got that rebound, he did something you're not supposed to do. He put it on the floor. He did it for balance, but Georgetown was right after the basketball. Very quick defensively to the ball. Georgetown have a pure point guard right now. Tough to run your offense. See where the two big guys are. They're not in an offensive position. You can't score. Now we've got the big guy down low.
But Tumbo getting it into the hands of Stoudemeyer for the second time. He attacks the basket for layups. Total of 6 points here in the first half.
Georgetown's offense really not fluid on the half court.
Skelton missing, and Gent again coming up with a missed shot.
Gent really does an exceptional job on the offensive boards. I'm sure John Thompson will tell his squad in the second half, block him out, get a body on him.
Jackson looking for a streak. 7 points in the first half for Jackson.
Brent, that shows you how really good he is, because he hasn't had the ball much, and he still has 7. He's probably going to get close to 20, and not a great outing for him.
This is an NCAA tournament environment, a neutral floor, crowd awaiting the arrival of the running Rebs. You can hear the sneakers and the ball bouncing. This is what you get in March. Score the basket for Brown.
It's a very difficult environment to play in, to be honest with you. You need the motivation strictly from within, and it's a good early game. All right, here we see nice spin. There's that fake. Joey Brown does a good job, and he gets himself an opportunity at a three-point play.
Are you surprised by what you've seen here in the first half?
Well, I kind of felt the defense would dominate, and I think that Georgetown's defense keeps them in every game. It's in all sports, you know, that old cliche, if the offense isn't working, if you play solid defense, whatever the game is, you're going to have a chance to win. And Georgetown wins defensively, not offensively.
Brown hounding Baker. They force a team into a helter-skelter attack. They never let you put the ball where you want to. Mutombo half-fronting Robinson on that low block. Working a weave far outside. Nothing going. Now it's Baker. And again, he was influenced. Robinson with an offensive rebound. Step.
We got a good call by the official. Mutombo has blocked shots, he's altered shots, but he's probably more than anything made people travel, because they have to fake to get him off his feet, but he doesn't jump. So they don't understand. He always keeps his feet on the ground. He's tall enough he doesn't have to leave his feet.
They can find a perimeter scorer who can average about 20 points a game. This Georgetown team would be really tough down the stretch.
One of the more difficult things to do with a young team is to hold the ball for 45 seconds. They almost turned it over, Georgetown did. It's almost sometimes when you blow by somebody, you got the shot, you got to take it.
Now Mutombo with his left shoulder stolen as he puts it down. Brown comes up, hits his pocket.
I've seen it so many times. It's difficult to hold the last shot.
Into the first half. A 5-point difference. John Thompson and the Hoyas of Georgetown, 32. The Ohio State Buckeyes, 27.
Come back from that.
No one has yet, but Jay just might be the player, John, to do that. He loves the game. He isn't ready to quit the game yet. But because we had heard that he had finally quit his sport, we went to Ohio to find out and do a bit of remembering.
It was an accident so freakish, no one realized the severity.
Talk to me, Jay. You need help. You need help. He's all right.
An injury so visual, everyone felt affected. Now, almost 2 years later, Jay Burson wants to put those images behind him.
I think that people think that because I did break my neck that I'm going to do it again or I'm going to re-injure it. All I want is an equal shot to play, and give me an opportunity somewhere in the NBA or somewhere to play.
Playing is performing to the guy they nicknamed The Show in high school. And the show played on to sell out crowds at Ohio State. But after Burson's injury in his senior year, he wasn't drafted. The Houston Rockets signed, then cut him. He landed in the CBA, first with the Columbus Horizon, then the San Jose Jammers this summer. And this fall, he came home and announced his retirement because the soreness in his neck had returned. Now, after 6 weeks with a specialist, Jay is practicing with his father's team in New Concord, Ohio, and considering a comeback.
How much do you believe that you can still play in the NBA?
Oh, I believe it 100%. You know, I look at the players that are playing in the NBA, and I played right with those guys, and I feel as if a lot of times I played better.
Burson is waiting to hear what his San Jose team will do with him next.
It's our understanding that he will be in here before the first of the year, probably right after Christmas. And he stayed in shape, which is like him.
And any ideas about playing overseas are put aside for now because Jay and his wife, Leanne, are expecting their first baby in May.
You want another basketball player, whether it's a boy or a girl, don't you?
I want him to, yeah, I'm going to, as soon as he comes, I told her as soon as he's here, I want him to start shooting the three-pointers because growing up, I never had a three-pointer, and I wish I could shoot it better.
And so, basketball player, husband, and soon-to-be father, Jay Burson, the show, goes on.
His doctors say that he is cleared to play as long as no pain returns. Jay Burson is 24 years old. He hopes he still has a future in the NBA. John will be back in a moment.
9%. And Jimmy V, they're being held at like 34% by the Hoyas here today.
They do it to everybody, Brent. They're a great defensive. Plus inside, Carter and Lee, 4 points between them.
All right, so we get ready now for the second half, and we can show you how Dikembe Mutombo has dominated the game, not only in block shots.
Forget the block shots. Look what he does here. He doesn't have to block a shot. First of all, right, the shot goes up here. He almost reaches over the guy. Now, what does he do? He causes the excessive head fake, a disease we have right now, and teams that play Georgetown, excessive head faking into a travel.
The first half statistics, and Georgetown shooting 45%.
I'd like to see Ohio State use the high post more. Try to bring Mutombo high. You could pass behind him or take the jump shot from the high post. I think it's available, which goes back to Treg Lee.
Jackson was held to 2 field goals in the first half. He's their scoring leader. All 5 Buckeyes were averaging double figures coming into this game. Jackson maneuvers for the first shot of the second half, goes back after the rebound, loose, Buckeyes up with it, and they score the first hoop here in the second half. They cut that lead down to 3 in a hurry. Alonzo Mourning out with an injury, off Brown's foot and out of bounds. Mark Jones, what about the Buckeyes at halftime?
Well, they were happy at the fact that they shot only 34% from the field, but were still able to stay in the game. Coach Ayers wanting the team to move the ball on offense, get that zone to shift a little bit, getting easier shots.
He'll take a steal like that. Speaking of easy shots, Baker cruises.
If veteran teams are going to take over, it's going to be the second half. And certainly Ohio State is a veteran team playing against a lot of freshmen for the Georgetown Hoyas.
So they cut that 5-point lead to 1 here quickly in the opening moments. Carter muscling on Mutombo, a left-handed dribble, shoots the layup.
Mutombo was in the low post, an area where you can score. Remember in the first half, he was much too high to be an offensive weapon.
Still very mechanical in on the low blocks. Takes him like slow motion to get things done down in there. Georgetown's possession. Randy Ayers in his second year. He was a fabulous athlete at Miami of Ohio in Oxford, Ohio. One of their fine basketball players to come out of that school. Was a long-time assistant at Ohio State and then took over last year after Gary Williams moved over to Maryland.
Oh, it's interesting, Brent. There's all kinds of ways to run half-court offense. You watch an Indiana team play, they pick everyone. John Thompson's teams do not have a lot of picks. They play more of a position offense. They put a low-post player. They try to penetrate a little bit.
On the turnover, and it comes right back to Harrison, and a foolish foul against the Buckeyes.
to follow up on that point, you watch the Hoyas offense, it's always been kind of a position, spread the floor, and then drive to the basket if possible.
And the two-point men square off at midcourt. Brown been very impressive with his hustling play here for the Hoyas so far. Loose on the turnover. Buckeyes again, and now Georgetown getting sloppy holding on to the ball. Jackson down the baseline, gives it up to Carter. Loose back into Mutombo's, and they break out 4-on-1. Only Baker. They'll go to Mutombo, and Baker takes the foul.
Decisions and decisions. That is not who you want to pass the ball to on a break. You've got to spread the court a little bit. You don't want to give it to the 7'2" guy coming down the lane. Nice steal, but you see right here is where you need to fill lanes. But someone needs to get to the left side of the point guard here. There's where you need to make the pass. Right now, bounce pass, 2 points. Instead, when you make that little shuffle pass to the 7'2" guy, not a foul there. Lucky didn't get a charge, too.
Might have raked him, though, with the hand against the chest.
Okay. All right, you've done it longer than I have. All right. I don't think it was a foul.
I like to stand up for the Zebras every now and then.
Well, it's the Christmas season.
That's right. Better to give than to receive. 36-31. Georgetown builds back that 5-point lead that they led it by halftime. Brown, who had 5 field goals for the Buckeyes, out on top. They get it into Robinson's hands, and the foul against the Hoyas.
No goaltending. Good call. Jimmy Higgins had it. It's on its way up.
Well, a reminder that tonight, special edition of ABC's Monday Night Football. Washington, headed for the playoffs, will take on the Indianapolis Colts, and the Colts at home. What about the incentive for the Washington Redskins in that game? Jeff George, meanwhile, starting to mature, show some talent as a passer in the NFL, and that's coming your way. Not only is it Saturday night, but remember the time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. So we've got Monday Night Football on Saturday night. Obviously, the NFL not wanting to play on Christmas Eve. And while we've got an opportunity, let me wish a happy holidays to everybody who's enjoying this basketball game along the line here today. We've got 2 for you and part of a third. Big afternoon. And right now, Georgetown leading Ohio State 36-32. Mutombo coming over to the ball side. Playing catch with Harrison, gets it back. Robinson there. He likes that dribble, and from the weak side, if you help, you can get at the ball against Mutombo. Lee is fouled, pulling the rebound down. Churchwell slammed into it.
Georgetown doesn't really look for a lot of lobs, you would think, to play Mutombo's size. You might want to think of a back pick and maybe lob. I know he is a little bit mechanical. When he gets a little too high, when he stays low post, he's a little bit too high there to make the kind of drop step move he wants. He's trying to back him in, but once again, that's too high. It's at the bottom of the broken line. Needs to get low post. Can't emphasize that enough. Low post where he has to be.
Jimmy, another of the freshmen, Lamont Morgan, forced to check in. That was the 3rd foul on Churchwell. That's why he sits down. Brown just missing the 3. He hit a couple in the first half. Robinson fouled by Kelly when he pulled the rebound down.
Robinson has been really more effective than really any other player in Ohio State in the paint. He's active. He really follows well. I'm a little surprised that Perry Carter. I think he's got to play bigger. He's got the bulk, but he needs a little more foot speed and quickness, I think, to be effective.
When he gets the ball, you will notice it's kind of like a wide center rather than a tall.
Some people play bigger. Some make themselves a little smaller. Right now, Robinson is playing himself a little bit bigger.
Baker into Mutombo's hands. Flurry on the floor, so they have the 2 big men together for the Hoyas right now.
I think that's hard to be effective.
Into Mutombo. Robinson is there. Hoyas ball. Not a popular call. And Thompson unhappy with Mutombo that time. The 3 just rattled out. 36-32, 4-point lead. Smooth Jackson trying to get his game going. Threw up his layup when Mutombo came to help.
Got no shot at that working. You've got to alter your game. You can't drive and throw up a layup from the hip against Mutombo. It's just like cherry picking. He's going to swat that in the third row.
Well, Christmas Day at noon Eastern, ABC Sports heads to Montgomery, Alabama for that holiday tradition, the Kelly Tire Blue-Gray All-Star Football Classic. Then at 3:30, the Eagle Aloha Bowl from Hawaii. Brown being hounded by Thompson. Into Carter, and it's swatted away on the inside. Defense sets it up, but Morgan loses it at the offensive end. 4-on-2. Baker to Carter coming through. He will move to the free throw line as Ronnie Thompson hammers him.
Same thing we just talked about, Brent. Perry Carter, get position down low. You've got to use that bulk a little bit. Needs to play a little bit bigger, I think, than he is. You can't take that kind of, just go straight up against 7'2" people. Not using his body, I think, as well as he can. And I'm going to say it again, and it's the last time I'm going to say it. You got to have a high-low post. When you're playing against a team that blocks shots, you've got to utilize the high post. Plus, when the ball is at the high post, it can be passed any place. You can make diagonal passes. It's the most active position in basketball when the ball is in the middle of the floor. Really likes the Ohio State get a little high-low rather than double-low post, which allows Georgetown to come over and block the shots.
So often a passing center who can step out. I saw Bill Walton on television the other night. I guess no one was ever any better than moving outside and finding the open man. We'll be right back. Carson Hunt of the defending champion Runnin' Rebs of Las Vegas out next against Florida State. What makes the Vegas players so tough? I'll be your straight man.
That's right. You know, in '83, when I was forced over the NCAA tournament, they asked Guy Lewis that question. He said, the reason Houston's so good is we have players that are hard to guard. And I think Vegas has a lot of players that are hard to guard.
Carter was hard to guard coming in on that layup, we might add, too, making it a one-point game. You get the feeling that the Buckeyes are on the verge of a run in this game. Georgetown very talented defensively, but struggling with a half-court offense, missing Alonzo Mourning tremendously. Kelly, though, comes back from the baseline with a big field goal. Robinson out high to pick. Baker short on the three. And the foul is called on number 34 of the Hoyas that time. He has broken free. Lamont Morgan's third personal.
Gent, once again, just gets an offensive rebound.
Gent, Robinson, Brown, Carter, and Baker for the Buckeyes. Jackson sitting right now. Blocking foul against Kelly. Trying to draw a charge. He recruited Georgetown. He was a junior college player out of the Cincinnati area, and he wrote a letter and said, I'd like to come to Georgetown and play for the Hoyas. So John said, come on over.
I used to get a lot of those letters. Those kids couldn't play.
On the inside, this one goes against the Bucks.
I'll tell you, I can see why Kelly, though, is a favorite among, I think, the fans and his teammates. He really comes in. He just plays so hard. And he's diving on the floor. He's made a couple of hoops. He's one of those good ones to bring in off the bench.
Thompson sealed up and gets it into the hands of Mutombo. If it's not pretty, it means that some very aggressive defense is being played here at both ends of this one. Wow. A little bit too good that time. Call on Brown.
When you're not able to pass the ball to a teammate, you must beat the guy who's guarding you. Randy is certainly not happy with the call. His ball club right now is putting pressure on the ball, denying the next pass. When that happens, you can't battle the defense. You got to battle the guy who's guarding you. Must go by him. You'll create all kinds of opportunities. Unfortunately, Georgetown right now, Joey Brown's guy's got to have the ball to go by people because he does that well.
Working against Baker, here he comes, looking to do just that. Jump hook by Mutombo.
That's what John Thompson was angry about before he felt Mutombo trying to make a pass from 3 feet to 2 feet. He said, shoot it when you get the ball in that position. Mutombo did, and he got a bucket.
9 points for Mutombo. At some point, Randy Ayers is going to need Jackson to contribute offensively. He has Jackson on his bench right now. He will send him back into the game at this moment, and he has to catch fire offensively.
What he has to do is adjust his game. He can't take things to the hole all the time. You must pull up short and take the jump shot. Take what the defense gives you, as they always say. But somebody didn't put it on the floor. Oh, that's nice. Some offensive skills. He's going to be a fine, I think, pro.
Jimmy moved to the 1-and-1. The Hoyas with their 7th team foul here in the second half. When they reach 10, then we'll be shooting 2, or the Buckeyes will be shooting 2 the rest of the time. Churchwell with 3 personals, checking back into the game, and Kelly sits down for the Hoyas. 13:54 to go. Gent has been an active contributor off the Buckeye bench. He was a starter last year, and Lee came off the bench. Lee and Gent are together on the floor right now.
The way this game is going, Brent, I really believe it's going to be poised down the stretch. The last 3 minutes of the game probably will be determined by which club can execute offensively and defensively. Obviously, if it's close, it tends to go to the veteran team. That's Ohio State.
Pounding the ball and the foul against Ohio State. Gent.
Talked about it before. When you double team and you reach, referees call foul. If you mirror the ball with your hands, you're not going to get called for foul. Or you must flick it upwards. If you reach in and go upwards, referees don't call fouls either. But when you go downward, it's a foul. We used to try and teach kids, Brent, we'd say keep your palms up. If your palms are up, you're going to flick upwards, you're not going to get called.
Brown penetrating and passes back outside. Lee has it hit from behind, but right into the hands of Baker. Jackson tried a dangerous pass, went diving back to save it. Lee faking. Tap back by Carter, and then Carter and Jackson go up. So Jackson gets credit for the tap-in basket. Georgetown's lead at 1. Brown penetrates, and the Buckeyes can move ahead. Jackson with a spinner. Hits Baker. Ohio State leads it.
Those are the shots they must take. You can't take it all the way. Medium range jump shots, that's what you're going to get against the Hoyas.
Gent rebounding the miss.
Set play. Randy Ayers wants a set play right now. Don't be surprised it goes to Jackson.
Ohio State ball. Jamal Brown checks back in for Randy Ayers. There's no timeout. That's what it appeared to be for a moment, and Randy straightening it out with referee Jim Burr. Jackson blocked. That's the 5th block shot by Mutombo in this game. Make it 6.
Jimmy Jackson is what we talked about before. He's one of those players that's hard to guard. Nice spin, good ball handling, sees the man. That's the jump shot you're going to get. He's awfully good. He's a good player.
Ohio State fell behind 12-2 in the early going. Now they've taken their first lead in this game. 12 minutes to go. The Hoyas can regain it. Churchwell, a great jumper, missing, and Carter comes off with that missed shot. Now the freshman of Georgetown being tested here in the second half by a veteran Buckeye team. Baker hits a 2.
Playing like veterans right now. Ohio State taking a little control of the game here.
Harrison driving through, couldn't get the roll, a little bit out of control. Buckeyes come back, off for that run. Skelton into Mutombo, an easy block shot that time.
In your dreams, you're going to get that one. No way.
Randy Ayers and the Buckeyes with the lead. Timeout in Las Vegas. With Jim Valvano, I'm Brent Musburger. Welcome to Las Vegas and game 1 of our duel in the desert. Ohio State just about a minute ago taking his first lead in the game, 43-40. And Jimmy, why were they able to suddenly turn this one around?
I think it's poise from the veteran players on Ohio State, and as far as there's more they could use it right now because they don't have a go-to guy, Georgetown, and so everyone's trying to do it, but they don't have that experience.
Skelton getting some minutes. Brown also in the Ohio State backcourt. Gent, Carter, and Lee. So Jackson being rested again.
High post. I like the high post, low post. They're going to get something good. Here it is.
Here's Lee. Just what the Dr. Valvano ordered.
High post, low post. Got to do it against clubs that have excellent shot blockers.
A blocking foul. Let's check in with Mark Jones on what John Thompson told the Hoyas. Mark?
Well, guys, there's been a lot of talk in the past few weeks about John Thompson softening up a little bit and showing a different side. Well, hey, forget it. Just hype and just a rumor. He just read his team the riot act in the huddle. The type of words offered would curl the hair on the back of your neck.
We'll take your word for it. John, though, has been extremely warm and accessible out here leading up to this game, but in the heat of the battle, well, he wants a W as bad as any other coach.
When you play a position offense that I feel Georgetown does play, it goes to people. You're trying to put people in a position to score. Right now, it doesn't quite have the people to do it in that particular offense.
Mutombo lost the ball.
The hit ball trick.
He says, where is it? What happened to it? I want to see it. Carter's field goal puts the Bucks up by 7. And now the Hoyas need all the poise that the youngsters can muster. We'll show you the hidden ball trick here in a moment. Nice bake. Morgan missing, though, on the shot. Churchwell gliding. Gets the roll.
Someone's got to step forward for Georgetown. They're all doing, to be honest with you, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Joey Brown drives, they're taking jump shots, they go inside out. Just lack of experience, and we'll see where they can get it back on track.
One thing they won't do is ever quit in a game. The Hoyas will come at you. Out on top to Gent. Skelton on the drive, has it knocked away, and Mutombo out of bounds. Well, let's take a look at the old hidden ball trick.
That's right. Which sport are we in? I think this is the wishbone. You put it in the fullback, you fake it here, everybody look that way. Oh, I like that. Perfect for Vegas. It's a Siegfried and Roy play here, right? You got a little, here it is. Take a look.
Go,
Dikembe. Up here for a deuce.
Jackson missing the 3. Baker runs it down. Tries to get it back. Good defense by the Hoyas. And he was out of bounds. Joey Brown trying to turn the corner. Out of bounds. Ronnie Thompson reports in for his father. Front court scoring in this game fairly even. The Hoyas, though, without Alonzo Mourning.
Georgetown's gone into zone defense. Zones nowadays give up 3-point shots. Don't be surprised to see.
And Brown was looking for exactly that.
Problem with zones today.
Jackson. Robinson controls underneath, has his pocket picked, and the Hoyas come busting out. Brown, foul. Fired up that ball as he took a heavy body shot. 34 years old, the youngest coach in the Big Ten.
He will age quickly, Brent.
There'll be a couple of gray hairs up there.
Certainly.
His wife is a Spanish teacher back in Columbus. I believe it's the Columbus School for Girls that I recall reading about.
Quiet, shut up, shut up.
Well, another reminder. Monday Night Football comes to Saturday night. It'll be the Washington Redskins against the Indianapolis Colts. And remember, it's not 9 o'clock Eastern. It's 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight. Loose. Buckeyes, and Lee is fouled by Brown. Boy, I'll tell you, Brown goes after loose balls relentlessly. He's going to have knee pads on by the end of this year.
What 4 years he's going to have. I mean, it's going to be where you're going to open your locker and he's jumping out at you. You're not going to want to see him by the time he's finished at Georgetown. He just keeps coming at you. You know, John Thompson.
Some NBA players go an entire season without as many dives as Brown's had for loose balls in one afternoon.
Often wondered how difficult it is to keep that motivation up when you sign that $2.3 million contract.
And all the players earn more than the coaches.
Oh.
When they come after you, Jimmy V, I want you to think about that, okay? When that first NBA team gets your phone number. Brown brings it to the attack. It's a 6-point Ohio State lead at the 8-minute mark. Kelly has it blocked by Treg Lee. Jackson's pass broken up by Morgan, and Jackson gets it back.
No, Brent, Ohio State's defense has been outstanding in the second half. I know I've talked a lot about what Georgetown's doing, but Ohio State is just doing a terrific job, both inside and outside. The veterans are taking control of the game. Their defense, look at their footwork. They're working so hard. They've put great pressure on the perimeter. Just an excellent second half by the Buckeyes.
Knocked free, out of bounds, off Morgan. So Florida State heading back for its locker room. They'll get ready for the second game, and we're going to come back with more college basketball action after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Big Ten leading the Big East right now. Ohio State unbeaten and in search of its 8th win, and this would be Randy Ayers' first quality win if the Buckeyes can hold on here. They lead at 51-43. They were down early 12-2. The Hoyas scored 12 points without surrendering a field goal. The Buckeyes' first 2 points were free throws. But here in the second half, the game has been turned around because of the Buckeye coaching staff.
Oh, just outstanding defensive effort by Ohio State in the second half. In all phases of the game, they're on the glass. On offense, defensively, though, they have, look what they've done to Georgetown in the second half. Georgetown had 32 points at halftime, and they got 43 right now. So the veterans have taken them. On the other hand, what I feel Georgetown's problem is when you play as hard as they do defensively, Brett, what are you going to say to your team? Pick it up a notch? Defensively, that's not the problem. Their problem is on the offensive end of the floor. They miss an outside threat, and they miss someone to just get it to inside.
Kelly replaces Churchwell as Churchwell picked up his 4th personal foul. I think we had a graphic that Bill Robinson had 4 fouls. That's not correct. He has only 3 for Ohio State. Mutombo, with 8 block shots here this afternoon, has been the statistical leader defensively for the Hoyas. Now they need someone to take over here at the offensive end. Mutombo will try. Coming over was Treg Lee. Jackson out. Morgan's there. Jackson draws the foul. You come to the free throw line.
Same problem on the offensive end for Georgetown is their half-court offense is struggling a little bit right now, and that's something that's going to be a problem, I think, this year for them. Outstanding defensively, offensively, a bit of a problem.
10 team fouls against the Hoyas. Ohio State shooting 2 free throws the rest of the way at the 6:30 mark.
Bad rule. It's bad when it came in. It's still bad. I think it's got to go.
Interesting that Jerry Tarkanian disagreed with you last night in our conversation.
Well, that certainly doesn't make the talk right. I'll tell you, just going to disagree. The fact is, you can't change the end of the game. When everyone's trying to mess with the end of the game basketball, you can't do it. By its very nature, you're still going to foul.
He doesn't chew towels when he's just a spectator. And they'll be shooting free throws.
Just to follow up on that again, baseball, for example, you can't make rules that say you can only throw the ball over to first base 4 times, and Ricky Henderson is there to try and speed up play. This effort to continually try and speed up a game is very difficult in basketball by the nature of the game.
Will Digger Phelps win a game today? That was Chris Gent's 4th foul, by the way. You could have commented on that.
Well, what was the score, Ben? I'm sorry, I was watching the game.
13-point lead, I think, over Portland.
They're up? They're playing Portland?
Second half.
Yep, I think they got it.
Thank you.
They're going to win that one. But Notre Dame's schedule down the road is one of the toughest. I'm not sure they're going to win many more this year.
I'm sure a lot of folks watching are very aware that gambling on sporting events is legal in the state of Nevada, except when teams play out here. In other words, you can never bet on a UNLV basketball game because of that, nor could you wager in the sports books in Las Vegas on the Ohio State-Georgetown game. So they offer some protection for the teams that come out here. Very excellent rule. Jackson in the corner. Brown into the hands of Ronnie Thompson. Harrison defended well. And the Buckeyes now starting to pull away. Lee with a breakout field goal. It's their biggest lead. It's an 11-point margin.
Caused, though, by a one-on-one move offensively, which didn't work.
John Thompson calls timeout. Randy Ayers from Springfield North, and moments ago.
If you couldn't hear him, what he was saying is play the perimeter tough. When the ball goes inside, like that, don't double team. Don't double team. And it works. Don't double team. Let them try to score Georgetown that is inside. Don't give them 3-point shots. A good move by Randy Ayers.
And his Buckeyes have outscored the Hoyas 29-13 in the second half. 2 men on the inside have stepped up big for the Bucks. Treg Lee and Perry Carter. Lee with 9 points, Carter with 7, and they went to that high-low that you suggested in the first half.
They've done it the way Georgetown usually does it, too, with great defense. They have had an outstanding half defensively.
Morgan with a splendid defensive play. Foul by Jackson.
And a good foul by Jackson. Put him on the line, see if he can knock in 2. They're struggling offensively, Georgetown, so put him on the line.
Second personal, 19 fouls for Georgetown.
That's why it's a good foul. Randy Ayers has to make a decision very shortly, and I hope sometimes young coaches, you want to win so bad is you stop playing offensively. you get a little tennis. Say, let's utilize some of the clock, and let's see when he decides to hold it out and how much confidence he has. The veteran team to just keep playing, play the thing through.
Well, they were looking to play this time, and the foul goes against Mutombo, his second.
I spoke earlier about some of the criticism that European coaches are giving American coaches. One of them is we tend to play not to lose rather than play to win, which sometimes, I know I did that a lot. It's a valid criticism. We're always, that clock run, bring the ball out. See, here we have no pressure on a free throw shooter right now. We just have no pressure. When you're going to get 2 free throws just on a common foul, there's just not a lot of pressure on the line.
A lot of scouts in attendance. Willis Reed charting the players here for the New Jersey Nets, team that drafted Derek Coleman, #1 out of Syracuse, and he has a chance to be the Rookie of the Year in the NBA. 58-46. Churchwell back out to Harrison off the fake. Now the Hoyas will try to ignite a run with their defense. And Baker, a veteran guard, gets it up rather handily on Brown. They need some turnovers, the Hoyas. Jackson's pass batted by Lee. And Brown was out of bounds. What an active player Joey Brown is. What an entertaining future he has for the Hoyas of Georgetown. Only a freshman.
Georgetown on out of bounds plays, always changes defenses, goes zone. This could be tough. If you go zone here and you give up a 3-pointer, it can really bury you with only 4 minutes to go in the game. Good. They switch back to man-to-man.
Back to Lee. As Lee steps up. It's been a high-low post clinic for Ohio State. Now Harrison on a runner. They put together field goals, and a mistake by the Buckeyes. They turn it back. The lead is down to 10. A little too eager to find the open man with that long pass here at the 3:24 mark.
I like the timeout call right here by Randy Ayers. He's looking up at that clock, and as we talked about, what goes through a coach's mind right now is, when do I have to put the ball away? And so he didn't like that pass. Wants his players to know, wants you to continue to play offensively, but no reason to take a chance like that, because the turnover is the only thing that can beat us right now. We got 2 free throws every time we get fouled.
What's on our side?
Randy Ayers has been in command of his huddle here. And when he arrived in Las Vegas, we asked him about his position as a coach in his second year with the Buckeyes of Ohio State, and this is what he had to say.
Oh, no, I don't think I've arrived. I think I've got a lot of learning to do, a lot of developing to do as a coach. As a staff, we're going to always try to do our homework and be thoroughly prepared when we go into a game. The pleasing part about this year's team is we had everybody back, so they understand what we expect out of them as players. And it was easier incorporating 3 freshmen into our program this year than it was to incorporate 12 new players into it last year.
When he came out of Miami of Ohio, he was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. And he made it right down to the last cut. And then when he was turned loose, he went into coaching and found his way into Columbus. And here he is as a head coach. Bright future.
I was going to say, the coaching business, who's hot, who's not. Right? Randy Ayers is hot. And this game is going to really put a little stamp on it. When you can play a John Thompson and you can beat him, I'm telling you, people are going to take notice. He's a fine coach, an excellent future.
Jimmy, what do you make of this stat? Rebounding, 19-6, Ohio State in the second half.
They just stepped up their pace, their intensity. They may have thought with Morning not playing, it was going to be an easier game the first half. They didn't play as hard as they could. They're playing like a veteran team right now. Georgetown, in my opinion, is not the kind of squad at this point in here that they can come back on people. I don't think so.
reaching around back, and they will shoot 2 free throws on that.
What, Brett, you could go out, Brett, and make, you know, in your wingtips, you could make, from Montana, 1 out of 2, right, if there's no pressure. But if you've got to go out there with the game on line, it's a lot tighter situation. I don't like the rule. Changes the whole. You want the kid to step up and knock him in. Again, talking about
Meyer and Thompson in.
Yeah, they put in 3-point shooters, but Randy Ayers not going to let them get a 3-point shot. They're going to. The only way you get a 3-point shot now is with a pick. A pick, and the guy who screens steps back. I'm not sure Georgetown has that in their game. If you're just going to try to get a 3-pointer by throwing it inside out, never going to happen against Ohio State. Not this, because this is the way they play defense. Just watch. So they pressure the perimeter. Not easy to get 3-point shots right now. Screen and step back.
They'll take that shot.
Yeah. Randy Ayers would have preferred just let him catch the ball and try to make it. Don't front him.
Difference is 10. Buckeyes with the lead.
So nice to have a Jimmy Jackson on your squad. You don't have to get it to your guards. You can get it to a forward. He can bring it up for you.
He probably has a guard future in the NBA when you see him physically. And he'd be about a 6'6" guard. Foul against Thompson. And Jackson is being used more in that backcourt by Randy Ayers. Very smooth. Out of Toledo, Ohio. He was recruited for a couple of years by Randy Ayers.
That was impressive today, Brent, is he didn't force things. A lot of times a player who has his kind of ability feels I got to get it done myself. In fact, the Ohio State team didn't force things. They played with the poise of a veteran team.
Last year in the NCAAs, they beat Providence.
See, he missed. Georgetown should have had the ball going the other way. Instead, he gets another one. Most likely, he'll make it.
And then the Buckeyes were knocked out by UNLV. And Skelton coming back in for a few moments. Jamal Brown shot very well in the first half. Baker sits down. 2:25 and a 10-point Ohio State lead.
And Ohio State played without Alex Davis, who is a really an outstanding shooter. And I know he has a bad knee, and maybe that's why he was a little too tender to play today. But when he gets cooking, that's another guard they have. Buckeyes are strong.
Well, coming up next, you're going to get to take a peek at Shaquille O'Neal and LSU against Illinois.
So you can't get a 3-point. Oh, they helped.
Foul going against the Bucks.
Ohio State doing a nice job. Again, in order to get a 3-pointer, you really have to set a screen. You know, we always say that the most open man in basketball is the screener. And it's hard to get it just inside out when people will not double down on the ball.
So that's next. Illinois in Champaign against LSU. And then some of you are coming back for our UNLV match against Florida State. Vegas winning by an average margin of 36 points. And they'll be joined today by 7-foot Elmore Spencer, who transferred out of Georgia and is now eligible academically. Just with that bunch need. Another 7-footer with talent. Wow, are they good? Against the Hoyas here with 2 minutes to go. 63-54 the score. And another 2-shot foul.
Enough said.
Without Alonzo Mourning today because of that injured foot.
I don't like to argue with, again, my colleague Dick Vitale, but last night he said that the Big East was the best conference in basketball this year. I don't think he's right about that. I think that, you know, Georgetown's good, but Villanova's good, but Big Ten's strong.
Harrison rattles one in. The Big Ten trying to win one against the Big East here. Jackson gets it up. Knocked out of bounds, and Morgan fouled him.
Another thing Georgetown isn't doing here at the end is I'm a little surprised, is double teaming. It's almost as if, and no coach likes, you don't want to lose, certainly. By the same token, it's almost this was like a learning experience for John Thompson's team. Can we play without mourning? Got to double the ball some here at the end, although it does create opportunities, but you got to go after it.
Did you ever notice how the good ones like Jackson, when they shoot their free throws, it makes a different sound?
The way I used to do it, Brent, the sound you never heard, by the way, Brent. But you can describe it. That's good. See? That's sweet, huh? I like that sound.
Lorenzo Charles, did he make that sound that night?
Oh, he made it one night.
Lee knocks it out of bounds. Second half, a complete turnaround. Ohio State shot only 34% in the first half and went out in the second half and hit 11 of 26 here. So it's tied up ball, and it remains down here at this end.
Okay, it's all right. Come on.
10-point lead by the Buckeyes, 1:19 to go. Churchwell bangs into Carter, who's assessed the personal.
Not as easy to get a three-pointer as one would think. It's a baseline drive here. Let's see whether the defense had the position or not. Good call by the official. Carter stepping in.
That is some build. I don't know how the Buckeye football coaches ever let him go 4 years without putting on a helmet. He was voted, I think it was the Columbus magazine that voted him the best body in the
best body in Columbus, Ohio. Certainly something you can be very proud of. Tell your grandchildren.
You can put that right on the
no doubt about it. Got to see some doubles. Got to double the ball. Here it comes. Have to do it. All you got to watch is the guy coming from behind. Veteran team should have no problem here. Jimmy Jackson may go all the way. He likes to do that. Oh, no, yes.
Oh, and he'll come to that free throw line after Kelly hammered him.
You know the guys love that. And he's got the great name. We're talking about names. Jimmy Jackson.
Oh, that's a Stars.
The alliteration. That's definitely Stars.
Only a sophomore. And he was telling us yesterday that he fully intends to stay at Ohio State next year. Alonzo Mourning, by the way, they figure that he will come back next year at Georgetown. They'll lose Mutombo, but Alonzo, one of the things that he would like to do is follow Pat Ewing's example and get a degree at Georgetown. I know there's always going to be talk about a lot of players. Certainly Shaquille O'Neal is the one that they're focusing on.
You want to hear John Thompson with a string of things that Jones was talking about before. You see Alonzo say he's going. Think about that. Could you imagine if Mutombo's gone and all of a sudden Mourning left? This would be a much different Georgetown program, that's for sure. But he'll be back.
So the block shot could not get it done entirely, and Dikembe with a running hook won't stay down, and the Buckeyes are putting one away. 17 for Mr. Jackson. Brown at the other end. Mutombo is fouled by Carter, and that would be number 5 on Carter.
One of the things that I wish I could have done, Brett. This has got to be fun. Just go in. Michael, take a look. Michael Jordan, watch this. We've got a little dipsy-do over the top. And a deuce. You notice Jimmy did not pass that ball over to the side. He gave a look. He gave the old teammate look and said, guess what? I'm going up with this myself. An impressive second half by the Ohio State Buckeyes. In every phase of the game, they showed poise, discipline, I think a good adjustment at halftime to take a look at the high post and Georgetown's got some questions that have to be answered. Who's going to take the three-point shot in this basketball team? Can they play the two big guys together? Their defense can only carry you so far against another good offensive team. A lot of question marks there. I'm sure John Thompson, that man, work them out, and by the end of the year, they'll be where they always are. Battling for a Sweet 16.
10-point Ohio State lead. Buckeyes put one away in the desert. Baker will step to the free throw line. I don't know, Jimmy, would you consider a 10-point win by the Buckeyes and Randy Ayers a rout?
In a game that's as low scoring as this, 10 points is not quite a rout. Ren, I don't want to make you... it was a very good win by Ohio State. I wouldn't call it a rout. I don't think anybody would call it a rout.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe Mrs. Musburg would call it a rout. A decisive win, certainly.
John needs Alonzo Mourning in so many ways.
Oh, definitely. But I'll tell you, this is one of those games, it's the teaching game, the barometer game. As a coach, you go back in, now you tell you guys, hey, maybe we're not as good as we thought, but then again, maybe we can be. And there's a lot of work ahead of the Georgetown Hoyas, but as I said before, they're one of the premier teams in the country.
How about the second one that is coming up between UNLV and Florida State? Do you give the Seminoles any chance?
Mail the scoring. You can mail that in. And I love Pat Kennedy.
He used to work with you.
Yes, he
Iona.
And if he uses the stuff I used, he's going to be in trouble. They got a good club. They got a good club. But playing, one thing that Vegas does, they play hard all the time.
They'll do it. An 11-point win for Randy Ayers and the unbeaten Ohio State Buckeyes. They go to 8-0. How about Illinois in the Big Ten? You'll see them next against LSU and Shaquille O'Neal. I'm Jim Val.